Walk into the room, purse first. Clack! I don't own a purse, I just want to be involved. Hello everybody, I hope you're all very well indeed. Welcome back to the Kiki. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 14. So let's just get straight into this, shall we? Let's. So Cynthia has just gone home. Bye girl, bye-bye. And so all the queens are gathered together and they're talking about each other basically, and mostly about Derek, because they're all kind of like coming for her and saying like, we don't know who you are. Sort of building off what Michelle said about him not having a soul, no, not a soul, not having soul. Which prompted a very awkward moment of, come on, berry booty challenge, berry booty. We know that girl can't twerk. She ain't got no cakes. But I can totally see what the girls are getting at. Derek kind of hasn't really found her feet yet. And I will go into that in a little bit later on in the episode, because we need to talk about Derek Barry. Make sure you stay tuned for that one, because it's gonna be fun. So Ru comes into the workroom again with another sodding hat. You know what, I'm just gonna let Ru do her thing and live her fantasy, her hat jaunty fantasy. So Ru starts talking about his origins, I suppose, of his music career and how he was in a punk band called RuPaul. Quite frankly, the less said about Ru's RuPaul, the better. But what was interesting about this episode was that there is no mini challenge. They go straight into the Maxi challenge, which is where they have to form new wave bands. I was going to say song bands, but that's not a word, is it? Basically, they're going to be singing live. But can we have a moment, please, to discuss the non-mini challenge? So we need to talk about this, all right? Over the last few weeks, especially of this season, but it's been kind of building up, like especially since last season, I feel that the template for Drag Race is getting a little bit samey. I don't really mean that in a very horrible way, because at the end of the day, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But in the same strain, I find that some of the mini challenges have been kind of boring and pointless. Some of them have made me laugh and cry with laughter, like howling, like when the queens had to do the upside down lip sync with the little beard. So I was crying. I fell off my chair, genuinely. But some of the other ones I feel are a bit more random and try and force a sort of captain situation where someone has to be picked last, and that's kind of like, I'm so over that whole, oh, I was picked last, like what kind of, like, is this high school? No, this is not RuPaul's high school for girls. I'm so over that shit, so unless it's relevant, I'm not really bothered by a mini challenge anymore. Maybe I'm just old and cynical, but unless it's good, I don't want to know. Especially since it eats up so much time within an episode of 40 minutes. That you kind of just want to get to the chase and see what the queens are really going to bring to the stage, and that always happens in a Maxi challenge. Unless, of course, the producers decide to create a bumper-sized episode every week and have a, you know, a full hour plus advert, so like an hour and a half special. Until that happens, we need to maximise our time, people! So what was fun about this was that the queens had to choose the teams themselves, and they also had to pick the theme or the style of music themselves as well. Can I just point out that Naomi picking punk was purely because she thought it said pink. So then we have like the whole drama of basically Chi-Chi versus everybody else, especially the people on her team, which were Derek and Naysha. To be honest, I think this episode, and you see this in other seasons as well, episode 4 is usually the time when cracks start to appear in queens, because by that point they've been away for a while, they know that, you know, it's just turn out challenges one after the other. They're starting to get tired and they're starting to get frustrated. So we start to see more of the apathy come through, more of the frustration come through, and a lot more snappiness coming through. So we're going to see more of this now, I think. I think in the same way that Bob was having a go at Lucian, I think it's starting to get to him. And then he was kind of having a go at Thorgy, and the fact that Thorgy was getting a bit like frustrated. You know, I think everyone is just getting a bit pissed off that they haven't had access to the outside world, and they're really highly stressed and they're overworked and everything else. But what I really did like about all this was that every team thought that the other team was going to be really bad. Like, the girls were reading the punks for being like, oh, you're so not going to do punk. And then, you know, the shapes were going to fail and burn because they can't make up their minds. And how, like, Team New York was way too at each other's throats. It was just like, well, you're not all going to be awful. Well, actually, that's not true. They might have all been awful, but in fact, they were actually all pretty good. Well, ish. You know who I'm talking about. So Kiki abandons her group to go make some outfit because she's already used her neon couture, and then she runs off to the shade tree and like does a little confessional. You know, second time in 4 episodes that the shade tree has been used. I mean, come on guys, this is money well spent here. And can we briefly talk about Team NYC with Bob, Acid and Thorgy? I absolutely loved the interaction that they had with each other in this episode. Bob's kind of like agitation was really funny. Acid was kind of chilled actually, and we need to talk about Acid in a minute. And Thorgy was just like not feeling it, and she was getting frustrated, and I totally sympathise with how she says that she overanalyzes everything. I do exactly the same thing. So don't worry girl, I feel ya. And I just love how Thorgy is so easily distracted. That was so cute when Kimchi is like, Thorgy! Hi? Hi! It was just like so cute. It's like so shady but cute at the same time. So then we get to rehearsals and Derek Barry's group is up first. And basically Derek's trying to become full Britney by trying to become pop star of the drag world. Little does he know that that position has already been filled by Willem and maybe Melina Luzon at a stretch. A big stretch. But it's kind of funny because Derek's like, I want to be a singer and this is my chance to shine. And Lucian's like, maybe you should just sing. Can we just say, I love Lucian. Lucian's like adorable, love him muchly. Also, Lucian makes the girls, was it Robbie Turner, Kimchi and Naomi, he makes them like do a primal scream. And they're all kind of like holding back a little bit. And Lucian's like, come on, scream more. And it's funny because you know damn well that all those girls there want Lucian to make them scream. Thirsty, thirsty bitches. And then you just have a few minutes of Bob just being an utter bitch by just complaining and moaning and being agitated and having a go at Lucian and having more of a go at Lucian and then saying that Thorgy was being uncooperative despite the fact that Thorgy was stood there lying through her teeth going, no, we love it, we're fine, we're happy, we're lovely, 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 fine, don't want to rock the boat. And yet Bob still brings it up and is like, Thorgy doesn't like this. And she's like, no, I like it, I like it, I like it. I mean, it's very cute how professional she's trying to be, but like, Bob, don't throw her under the bus. And then Bob has a go at Lucian some more and then rants about Lord for a while and then complains about the B-52s, says something about campness, and then has another go at Lucian. Doing yourself no favours, girl. So then the girls are back in the workroom and they are getting painted, ready for their big song and dance moment. And I just have to like take a moment for Kimchi. When she's in the mirror talking to Chi-Chi and Chi-Chi's talking about her money problems, Kimchi's just basically smearing tapioca pudding all over her face. It's like one of those 4-year-olds when they've like been given free reign on pudding and they're just like and it like ends up all over the kitchen, like everywhere except in the mouth where it's supposed to be. I might just start calling her Tapioca Chi from now on. So the judges for this episode are Chris Stein and Debbie Harry from Blondie. Although, let's be real, Debbie Harry looked a little bit, like, tired and hair out of place. She was less Debbie Harry and more Debbie Harry. Don't give up the day job, Chris. Oh my god, that was absolutely terrible. It's okay, I'll see myself out, bye. So the performances themselves, I actually quite liked them. I thought they were really cool and very well executed. Street Meets had very good micography, because obviously everything is an ography now. Hairography, chiffonography. Sounds like a really bad qualification, doesn't it? What did you do your degree in? Micography. What does that entail exactly? Who knows? But your nan would always be proud, phoning up her friends going, he's got an ography, he's got an ography. And oh my god, at the end of their performance, did you see that little snip of the Vivienne? Did you? The Vivienne is RuPaul's British Drag Race ambassador. There was a competition last year and she won it and her prize was to go to LA and see part of season 8 be recorded. So that's where she was, like, I just really hope that like she's in like the next episode or something because she's really cool and I hope that's not the only thing that she happens to be in. Little claim to fame here, I actually met her last year at a party in London. She is fabulous, lovely, so sweet, so funny. Had a really good night with her and her mates and my mates and we just chilled out and like drank cocktails all night. It was fabulous! Oh, and then let's talk about dragometry, right? I thought it was quite funny that Derek Barry had the line, get out the box, don't be so uptight. Because I was like, you should probably be saying that to yourself, girl. Get out of the Britney box, don't be so uptight. And then we get on to laid chicken wings. And you know what? I can't even fault this. This was just amazing. Like, absolutely phenomenal. So I'm not going to make fun of it. Because good job. So then we get to the proper runway. And let's talk about some of the outfits, shall we? So Derek Barry's outfit, let's be real, it was a knockoff of Courtney Act's Marco runway look that she did a couple of years ago. Like, if you're gonna wear something that has already been worn by a previous queen, you need to wear it better. And I just thought it just wasn't executed well enough. It was less Marco and just more mark down. Has that one been shopping at Forever 21 in the bargain bin? Aww. Kimchi's look, I don't know if I loved it or hated it. Like, the makeup was absolutely crazy and the outfit was absolutely crazy, but it was kind of cool in a weird way. But I really think it was summed up perfectly by, I think it was Debbie Harry just saying, I love cabbage. I mean, that is all you can say to that outfit because it is so crazy, it warrants a crazy response like, I love cabbage. Acid Betty was serving fish, gill, realness. Less Acid Betty, more haddock Betty, I think. But I loved it, I thought it was really, really cool. How she had time to put all that together, like, darling. And while we're here, let's talk about Acid Betty, shall we? This episode, Acid Betty got a much softer edit. Did anyone else notice this? Like, she was way more chilled and like, they didn't portray her as this like massive, horrible bitch. It was actually quite refreshing to see this sort of different side to her come through. And especially in Untucked, where she was very sweet to Chi-Chi. And it just felt like she really had her back. It's nice to see a different side to her. And Bob the drag queen. Did someone spill their strawberry ice cream? So Robbie wins the challenge and deservedly so. And what was really sweet, if you watched Untucked, was when she's backstage, Debbie Harry and Christine come around the back just to sort of congratulate them on their win and stuff and wish Robbie Turner, who is a huge Blondie fan, a happy birthday. So while they're like chilling around the back in Untucked, the rest of the queens are being critiqued on stage. And the thing about the critiques this year, I've started to notice this trend, they are like really picky. I think it's actually a testament to how strong the competition is this year, that the judges are having to be so nitpicky about the smallest little details to find any fault with the queens that are on stage. You know, if all they can read Chi-Chi for is the fact that she wore a fairly simple outfit, which I don't think was actually like that simple, and that she wore the same shoes in the performance as she did on stage. If that's it, then darling, you're doing something right, really, aren't you? But you know, everyone is so polished this season. Well, almost. Okay, so let's talk. Let's get real for a minute. Let's spill some tea. So as I said earlier, we need to talk about Derek Barry. And we're gonna do it right now. So I feel that Derek Barry's outfit stood out like a sore thumb on that main stage. Not only because I felt it was copying an outfit that's already been done and not executing it as well as that outfit, but also because it simply just wasn't as executed well as the other ones. When you're on stage dressed like that, next to Naysha Lopez, who is this neon chameleon incredible epicness, and the likes of Acid Betty, who literally looks like a fish, you're gonna struggle to be noticed. And the thing is though, this isn't the first week that this has kind of happened with Derek. I said before in a previous video that the energy that she brings to a Britney performance is incredible. What she needs to do is use that skill and put it towards other drag, especially formulating her own drag character of just Derek Barry and not Derek Barry, the Britney impersonator. And I have no issue with the queen evolving and showing some kind of progress as the show goes on. The issue that I have is that we're 4 episodes in and I'm not really seeing it. Derek Barry's entrance look has probably been her best one. And what really does frustrate me is that the judges are kind of letting her have a pass all the time. I mean, for God's sake, even Pearl, who can do no wrong, was given a warning in like episode 3 and then found herself in the bottom in episode 4. You know, that's early on in the game, but she needed to step up her game and they forced her to. Derek's not really being given that. She just keeps getting given a get out of jail free card. And I'm like, did she really deserve to be safe over Chi-Chi? For me, Chi-Chi's look was better. Yes, it was a little bit simple, but I just thought it looked better. And I felt she did better in the main performance. So it's going to be interesting to see if Derek can actually step up her game, because every episode it feels like the judges are giving her the same critique and she ain't doing nothing with it. So yeah, that's just like my 2 cents on Derek Barry. Basically, I'm just questioning why she keeps getting a free pass when I don't feel she's taking the criticism and using it constructively. Especially since I know that she has that skill within her. Also, let's just quickly talk about Untucked. What was interesting was that really the girls seem to be gelling quite well this year. Like, everyone seems to be very friendly and there's like a real sisterhood forming. And what was interesting was the amount of queens that were learning the song for the lip sync, because none of them really felt very secure. Chi-Chi was convinced that she was up, but Bob was listening to the music, so was Acid and Thorgy, as was Naysha. So I think it's quite telling that really none of them really know whether they're safe or whatever. And as well, I think it actually reflects on the season as a whole. At the beginning of the season, I certainly thought I was pretty sure who the top 3 was. And I think a lot of you out there have probably thought as well, I'm pretty sure I know who the top 3 are. But really, as I sort of sit back and I reevaluate, I'm actually not sure that I know who the top 3 are anymore. If I'm honest, originally I thought that the top 3 was going to be, and this isn't based on sort of personal preference, this is just who I thought would be good enough to get to the top 3. I thought they were going to be Kim Chi, Bob the Drag Queen and Acid Betty. As the competition has gone on and I have seen the potential flaws in each of those characters, that Kim Chi struggles really with the singing and the dancing challenges and the acting ones, that Bob is pretty funny but can also be a little bit of a loudmouth, and that Betty is fierce but is a bit of a bitch. And when you pair that up with the fact that Thorgy has just shown herself to be an incredibly strong all-rounder, that Chi-Chi has shown incredible resilience and has won a challenge, and that Robbie Turner has proven that she is quite well-rounded as well and can win a challenge after being in the bottom 2 the previous episode whilst also turning out a lip sync, just kind of shows to me that really my preconceptions of this season are kind of being challenged. And as much as I thought, oh yeah, the top 3, I know who it's going to be, I'm not convinced anymore. So the rest of the season is actually going to be quite interesting for me to watch, to see if any of that changes, because I really think that it's open to anybody right now. And that's quite exciting, because in previous seasons it's kind of been fairly obvious who was going to make it to the top. And this year, people who I thought were going to go early are still staying, and the ones that I thought would do incredibly well have done decently, but not dominated in the way that I thought they would. So Chi-Chi and Naysha fall into the bottom 2 and have to lip sync to the song Call Me by Blondie. So the lip sync is pretty good, although Naysha immediately takes off her shoes to start the lip sync, like problem number 1. And then halfway through loses her wig, problem number 2. Where the drag at, girl? And Chi-Chi manages to do all these flips and backflips and death drops, still keeping her wig intact. Although part of me did half expect Naysha to just stand there and clap. But Naysha did a good job. She pulled out some moves I didn't know she had, but Chi-Chi totally outdanced her, and she was looking like a really fabulous pink tiger, really sexy and like pink and neon. Fabulous look, keep it up. So unfortunately, Naysha, the queen that was called, did not manage to stay on Call Me. But I am glad that Naysha got a second chance. She showed off a little bit more, and as well that she was such a lovely queen and really down to earth, very sweet, and I have a big soft spot for Naysha, so I'm glad that she got to show off a little bit more. So that is everything, guys. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought the performances were very, very good, and it was nice to see more of the interactions again in the workroom and less emphasis on a somewhat unrelated mini challenge, I suppose. Are we going to see more of this kind of thing in Drag Race? Who knows? Let's find out. But personally, I quite liked it, and I would be more than happy to see this kind of episode done in the future. But now it's over to you guys. What did you think? Let me know. Drop me a comment below with any thoughts or things that you noticed or feelings, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. You know what to do. Just drop a comment and start talking to each other. And Kiki, girl! And make sure for next week you are well rested, because, spoiler alert, next week is Snatch Game! Always one of the best episodes if done correctly, and after last year there is a lot to live up to. Make sure you drop this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, click the subscribe button down there. Come join our family. If you want to continue the conversation, follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Just search for Chris Says It, you'll find me. Also keep an eye out for me on Reddit. It's the same username, so if you happen to see me posting on there, drop me a hello. But until next week, guys, be good, be safe, keep out of trouble, stay fierce, and I will see you guys later. Take care, bye! So to remedy that, I am doing a random 25 facts about me video right here, right now, so that you can get to know me just as much as I've been getting to know you guys.